Hey, what's going on guys, Hex here, and today we're taking a look at the DC Icon Series number 3 Green Arrow. Now it does come with quite a few accessories. The first thing I wanted to point out is he comes with two sets of hands, so he has the ones that are equipped right now. These are the ones that actually come equipped in the package, which are the fist, which are pretty standard with all the Icon Series. As you can see, they would be able to rotate and they just go left to right. So moving those along, because obviously, you're going to be opposing him with these just because you're able to use, the longbow and the arrow. As you can see, it does look pretty good. You're able to put the arrow in the right hand and the bow in the left. Then he comes with some additional arrows in the back. So he's going to come with 2 single arrows and 2 double arrows. As far as the longbow is concerned, this string right here, it is just a string. It's not plastic. The black part here, you do not have to assemble anything, so it already comes pre-assembled, which is nice. But I've got some issues with this guy. As good as he looks, and as far as what I picture Green Arrow to look like, I think they really nailed it here. Bringing in some other figures or characters. There's Batman from also the Icon series, and here is Mr. Miracle, which I think all these guys in this line look really, really good. And even some characters that I was like, I don't really care that much about him. They look so good, like Mr. Miracle here on the left, that I was like, yeah, gotta pick it up. So originally, I was only going to pick up the Batman-related figures, but it's been watching a lot of Justice League and Young Justice and all the stuff with them, that seeing all these other new characters that I usually didn't follow. I'm like, yeah, I want to pick them up too because they're really cool. All right, so some of the issues that I have with this guy, and I'm going to start off with the very first one, is the longbow. This is the second time I've owned this figure. I just got him in again today, and I wanted to bring awareness to this. His hand on his left, which is meant for the longbow, where the right hand is only meant for holding the arrow, so you can't flip-flop it. He's only going to be a righty. The hand is very tight, or it's like closer together than what it needs to be, and so whenever I tried to put the bow in his hand, it actually snapped in half. So I had to buy another one because I want to pose him with the bow. And I was like, okay, let me pry his fingers back a little bit, the thumb back a little bit, and then I slide the longbow in there. It went in there just fine, no problems at all. And then eventually, the fingers started to tighten right back up again because the pose that they are supposed to be in. So that's something that I recommend for you guys. Whenever you're putting the longbow in or taking it out, pry the fingers apart just for a second. Take it out, and then they'll eventually come back to form. But that's something that I highly recommend. Otherwise, you're going to break it because it's very, very brittle. The other thing I wanted to take a look at is, let me talk about this real quick. I'm no archery expert. Like, I had a couple of crossbows and stuff like that and shot them whenever I was younger because I lived in the country. But from what I recall, that like a righty, you always shoot from the top, like above your hand, not below. And considering that this hand is the only hand meant for the longbow, and this is the only hand meant for the arrow, like I mentioned before, he's not going to be able to flip flop. So he's always going to be changing, or shooting, this way. So the peg that they installed on the bow, it should be up here, I believe. So just a little nitpicky, I know, but it's something that I thought I'd point out. But if you guys are like huge archery fans and you know that it's very common for people to shoot from below their hand, then you can let me know. I guess I don't know what I'm talking about, but just something that was just kind of a little nitpicky, and I wanted to bring your attention to it. All right, so the hand that holds the arrow, as you can see, that it holds it quite nice. It's staying in there pretty firm. I think they could have done a little bit better job, though, with the this hand. The way that I have it rigged up is this part, this feather is kind of slid in between, this little section here between these two fingers, and then I have this section is on the other end of that thumb. That's the only way that I could figure out how to get him to hold the arrow. Now it's very secure, like I showed you, but I think that they could have done a little bit better job. If you just apply a little pressure, it will come out. So I couldn't figure out any other way to get it in there, so that's just kind of the best way. But taking a look at the arrows and what you get. So first off, these guys here, they're very nicely detailed, with this part being brown. You can even see the little ends here to where you could, where it would, pull back on the little string there. But you can see the green paint on both sides, silver paint. So you get 2 of those, and you get 2 of the singles, and they have the same paint on them as well. All right, so taking away the bow, again, like I said, I'm going to pry those fingers, and I'm going to pry that thumb, and then rotate and pull that out, and it just comes out nicely. Then you can, squeeze the hand back together, and there you go. But why would you use these hands if you're not going to be holding the bow? You might as well just take them out and put the fist in. But anyways, let's take a look at some of the, nice detail of this figure. As far as the face and everything that I've seen in like Justice League and stuff, I mean, man, they nailed it. It looks great. Even his goatee here, it's kind of crazy looking with the mustache and kind of turning up at the edges. Everything about this looks Oliver Queen Green Arrow to me. If you pull this back, you can see that it's just a soft rubber. He does have the nice blonde hair, which is good. There's one little paint piece right there where it's like brown or black or something, but I'm always going to have, the hood covering it, so that doesn't really matter to me. It's not that important. But if you wanted to, you could, have his hood back here like this. Now, this soft rubbery kind of plastic part right here, this hood section, it's this shirt that you see right here and, this whole section. So it's just glued on top of this. So you could, you can see how you can, pull a shirt down a little bit if you ladies wanted to see a little bit more chest, then you could do that. But whenever you pull the hood, you'll see that it kind of pulls back right there, and you can see more of his neck. So that's another reason why I think just leave the hood the way it is. Now, you do have some rotation here, and he has a nice ball joint for his head. It'd be cool if this somehow rotated with it a little bit better. That way, whenever you have him facing this way, maybe kind of this point goes with it a little bit, but it's not too bad. Again, I want to be as nitpicky as possible. That way, if there's anything that's a deciding factor on whether you want to pick up the figure or not, then everything was explained to you. This section right here, I forgot what it's called. Again, it's been a long time since I've done archery, but it is glued on the back. Everything else, it's nice paint. With the brown here, you have the gold and the G there. Everything else is just pretty much green. It's mainly in the face here. Now, as far as the articulation, the shoulders, I showed the head, the shoulders, they can go out all the way. They can also rotate. They rotate at the bicep. He does the double jointed elbows, and then the wrist rotates and it goes left to right. He does have the ab section here to where I'm not really getting a whole lot of movement there. Just a little bit. So you can kind of see it goes a little bit left to right and side to side. You can also get the go front and back there. And then he has this section here, which I think this is a little bit too loose. Oh, it's my alarm going off. Hopefully you can't hear that, but it goes a little bit too loose for my liking. Then this section down here, he does have a soft rubbery plastic. The legs can go forward, back, they can go out. The one negative I have with the Icon series is there's no thigh cut, so you kind of limited a little bit in the articulation. You can still pull off some cool poses, but not as many that I think you should be able to. Then you have the double jointed knees, and the knees, or at least this one, that's a little too loose, and they're kind of soft. I wish they would be a little bit stronger joints. So, and again, that might be just my figure and may not be yours. Like this one, it seems to be fine. So, and then the boots, they do rotate, and the foot goes front and back, and it also rotates as well. So there's a little look at Green Arrow, kind of my thoughts, and pointing out some of the things that maybe some negatives and some positives, but overall I think he's a really nice figure. It's good enough for me to break the longbow and go out and buy another figure. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.